poet who died of AIDS in 1990, and his long-awaited collected poems, A Fast Light, is due out very soon, I think this spring, from Nightboat Books. It's edited by David Trinidad, so be on the lookout for it. Tim's poem is called Come In From the Rain, but there are many things I have to explain first. A bumbershoot is another word for umbrella. A browlie stand is where you put your bumbershoot. I Dream of Jeannie, starring Barbara Eden. Probably you all remember is a 60s TV show about a genie. She lives in a bottle, she wears harem pants. Adam Cartwright was the older brother on Bonanza, and the actor who played Adam Cartwright, Parnell Roberts, also went on to star in a TV show called Trapper John, MD. I feel like I'm on a trivia quiz. And finally, Buddy Epson, you probably think of as Jed Clampett from the Beverly Hillbillies, but in this poem it refers to a different incarnation of his as Barnaby Jones, the detective. All right, now you're prepared. We're coming from the rain. Stick that bumbershoot in Elephant's Foot brolly stand behind the big door. Mind your manners at high tea. Hi you. High velocity hailstones cream passerby beyond the panes. I dream of Jeannie, starring Barbara Eden, of Eden, starring even Adam, of Adam Cartwright, a.k.a. the Let 'em Have It with all candor, Trapper John. Candor to the mass man, mass taste. That's my motto. Waste the day, the life, the villain with depression. Fill in the wrong blanks, misapprehension, dum-dums. Nap an hour through the Buddy Epson as a perspicacious fuddy-duddy whodunit. Then produce the silver teapot, loose Earl Grey, and table water slabs. Somebody's daughter carries on the grand tradition in the grandma manner. Wishing you were here, don't place you in that old wing chair. Face you in the photos. China, art on parlor walls, it's raining in my heart. Thank you, Tim. And now I'm going to read a poem by Elaine Equi. It's called What Is It About Hands? And I wrote this poem. I was reading a book about photography that was talking about all these iconic images of hands. And the author said, if you want to take better photos, pay more attention to what the hands are doing in the picture. And I wondered, what would happen if you did that in a poem? So this is the result. It's in two parts. One, I never think of them. They do their work automatically. Mine are small and childish, almost paws. I'm not good with them. Once when I was young, my mother burst out laughing as she watched me try to sew a hem. 2. Wait. Now it comes back to me. My obsession with hands. Not real ones, but the hands of statues and mannequins with their perfect fingers and polished nails. They seem to reach out, a spare pair from another world, offering metaphysical assistance. I bought one from a street vendor who had a whole array of artificial limbs spread out on a blanket. How I loved that hand, would hold it shyly when alone, and kept it on my coffee table to add a surreal touch. But some girls I worked with came over for drinks and stole it. I remember calling them and feeling rather silly, saying, I know you've got my hand, and I want it back. Them giggling, then finally acquiescing. It wasn't the same, though. I looked at it differently, not knowing where it had been. The next reader is Jill Alexander Essbaum.
name of my poem is Apologia, and it begins with an epigraph from St. Augustine. However innocent your life may have been, no Christian ought to venture to die in any other state than that of the penitent. I have been sodden with wine. I have been confused by wine. I have been lied to by men, and yet I lie down upon such men, still and willing in the manners that they please. Lord, I've been a blemish at your love feast. And I have been tangled in nettles and brambles, have dwelt in seamy hotels, have ambled down roads that once so necessary seemed. And I have prayed, hot and overloadedly, having meddled in those matters that ought be closed to me. Darkness, I have done dread deeds in, hearkening to apocalyptic heathen, even as I cocked my lips to yours. And I have slept on floors, and I have crept along on all fours, and more. I have lived briskly in nice houses. I have swigged whiskey in ice houses. I have been June, July, and August. I have been riotous when I felt like I must, or I could be. And I've hung on your tree like a ripe fig desiring to be plucked. And I've flung my body to your bed like a white bride pining to be rubbed up against, like a suckling child hungry in a viper's den. And I have been Dismas, the penitent thief, and I have been Judas. And I've spent my plenty silvers chiefly on my hells, and that I have seldom, if ever, failed. It's just as well. For as the e-beast devours her carrion, I feed upon what queasy defeats I carry on my back. Thus the beggar becomes her bowl, and the hangwoman surrenders to the scaffold, and irrevocable acts of God and doom consume me. Can this be mercy? I fear there isn't any left. Even the chrism is bereft. Wretched, most wretched, it says. Will my guilts unfold like a napkin in your lap? Will a dog grow fat on crumbs the master drops? I have been a grabber at your garment hem, and I have been a Magdalene outside your tomb. And I've bathed atop roofs, have pounded with brew, have pooled my pearls, the sorrowful few. Like milky mea culpas, they rattle fragile on their string. Christ, forgive me everything. Glynn Greacen.
Hi. Okay, so like most Northern Californians, I have a love-hate relationship with yoga, and that's where this comes from, so forgive me. It's a thing. This is called Namaskar. Intimate strangers, each of us is bent on bending the other to our will. But will we ever understand what's really meant by entering into this argument together? There's no lesson to instill in this place, even if our subject matters the worthy cause of coming to a higher knowledge of self. The self's the thing that natters so ceaselessly inside of you, it shatters any nascent scintilla of desire to know it better. Going to the mat assumes an almost mythic context just the same. Yoga means union, yet the spat revives with every lesson for all that. Bickering on and on about whose fault the pain is. Practice skims that surface racket. Postural synonyms outline a body language lexicon that's liminal, phoned in. Here we are all posers. And maybe posturing is part and parcel of a process we don't call by its right name anyway. But if we fall flat on our asanas, that's all right. The art of falling is still an art. Cold feet can be adaptive, even in the stifling heat of this room. Flesh and intention finally wedded. Bliss. Or should be. But do we not all resist change? This is the conceit these postures mean to teach, a metaphor that operates in every cell. Arranged marriage is not a custom we explore willingly in this culture. And the more uncomfortable we are, the more estranged we feel. The hour-long meltdowns just enough to heighten rather than disrupt our trust in body-mind duality, a bluff we've bought for centuries. Union is tough. The more so if you absolutely must task yourself with believing that you chose your partner knowingly. Better to see we're all stuck here with strangers. And who knows what skeletons are underneath the clothes in all our closets. Did I want to be this tough or this resilient? I thought I did, but physics isn't my strong suit and never was. Tied roughly in a knot to contemplate dynamic tension, hot under the collarbone, there's an acute desire to flee. If I could figure out how to support myself apart from you, dear body, I'd be out of here without a thought. But then, one last breath, and all doubt disperses, and we feel for just a few seconds how it would feel to understand for real the truth. The practice does not make perfect, it is perfect. And we land upright, and hand rests folio-like on hand, something about to open for its own sake. Thank you. The next reader is Kimiko Han.